Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode here on African Confessions. The following story that you're going to be listening to, it was sent to me by one of our dear sisters. Strange things indeed do happen in this world. The message that she sent to me reads like this. Hello, Brother Nashi, how are you? Can you please post my own story as hidden identity? I am a young woman who is only aged 20 years old, and I took responsibility of my mom from a very young age. What happened was that my mom, she once suffered from a stroke. My mom, she used to be a nurse. She was working as a nurse. That was when she suffered from a stroke. When she had that stroke, that was when I saw that my father, he had never loved my mother anyway. And from there onwards, I started hating all men. Even though I date a lot of men, I only do it so that I can perform these rituals. But deep down, I have this deep hatred against men because of what my father did to my poor mom. My mother, she used to be a nurse there at Pare, and then when she got that stroke, that was when she was taken on a leave. But when they saw that she was not returning back to normal, that was when she was dismissed and she was given a small pension. You know that here in Zim, when they say that they have given you a pension, it will be just meaningless because of the devaluation of our money. After she had been given the pension, then the money just could not even buy anything. My mom then said that it was far much better for us to sell our house, our property that was in Harare, so that my mom and we can go to the village, including my father. But that was when the troubles started, because my father said, hell no, we are not going to sell this property because I want to stay here in Harare. I want to remain here in Harare. If you want, you can go to the village alone. They started fighting a lot. Let me say that my dad was the one who was fighting with my mom, because at that point my mom was unable to do anything. The moment that my mom said that enough is enough, let us move out and let us go back to the village, that was when our father had the nerves to bring a woman into my mother's house, and they slept in the dining room. I ended up taking my earphones and started playing music, because I could actually hear this woman that was making love to my dad. She was screaming and she wanted my mom to hear her making love to my own father. I was in pain, and my mom, she started crying. I tried to comfort her, but she was in pain because she had it all. After they had done making their love in the living room, they then came into the bathroom. Then they started bathing, and this was like in the middle of the night, and they were laughing, Brother Nashi, because they said that they had done each other quite nicely. So they kept on doing whatever they were doing, but I made sure not to listen to whatever that they were doing. Me and my mom, we then went to the village where my mom was born, and I started staying there with my mom at my uncle's place, who is my mother's brother. But being in the village, it was very difficult, Brother Nashi, because I was going to an A school when this whole story happened. But the moment that I arrived in the village, I was told that I had to go to this village school. Unfortunately, I had to drop out because our uncle was only able to provide the shelter for me and my mom, and he was unable to send me to school since he had his other kids that he was also sending to school. And then I stopped going to school. By that time, I was 16 years old. I was supposed to go and sit for my O-level exams, but that could not happen anyway. So I started dating this other guy. When I dated that guy, he took advantage of me, so that bitterness kept on building up. The guy had lied to me that him and his wife, they had divorced each other. This guy, he was the one who had been helping my mom because he was into this thing of gold buying. So he would come and he would buy some medication for my mom, as well as to buy some food at my uncle's house. So there was no other way. The only way that I could repay him, I could only repay him by giving him sexual intercourse. Brother Nashi, he was the one who deflowered me, but after he had deflowered me, Brother Nashi, he dumped me. He treated me as if I was a piece of junk, and at that time I was pregnant. When I found out that I was pregnant, I went and I spoke with him. And when I went to his compound, before I would have entered into his compound, that was when he told me to wait for him outside. So I waited and I waited. Finally, he came outside and I asked him what was going on, because as far as I knew, he had given me permission to enter into his compound whenever I felt like. But on that night, his wife had returned back. They had been fighting, but they had managed to sort out the whole thing that was making them to fight. Now he did not want me. He said, I do not want to see you because I heard that you are cheating on me. I cried, Brother Nashi, as I returned back to my uncle's compound. I still remember that when I was returning back to my uncle's compound, there was this other grave site where I had to pass through. So that house that was close to that grave site, I had been told that all the people in that family, they had passed away. And the reason as to why they had all died, it was because they were ritualists. They had made a covenant with the devil. So they had all died. The entire generation had been cut off by God. This is what one of my uncle's son had told me. And even when I asked my uncle's wife, she said, indeed, can't you see that the house is really beautiful? Don't you wonder why no one even bothers to go and stay there? There are a lot of homeless people. The reason as to why no one wants to go and spend the night there, it is because the devil is seen to be walking around that property. When I had heard this story, it just gave me an interest. On my way back, I then went to the graveyard of those family members that had the covenant with the devil and those ones that had been cut off from this world by God. I went there and I started to cry, and I begged those that lay in their graves to wake up, to rise up, so that they can assist me to bring up the devil, so that I can have also a covenant with the devil. I prayed until I got tired, and I cursed those people that lay in their graves, and I said, the devil does not exist. The moment that you say that the devil does not exist, and if you mean it, the devil is going to reveal himself to you, because what I have learned about the devil is that, unlike God, he is filled with pride. He wants people to know that he is there, even though he pretends as if he does not want people to know that he is there. But the moment that you deny him, if you deny that the devil does not exist, he feels so much pain. Unlike God, when you deny the existence of God, God knows that at the end of the day, he's the God of the universe, and there is no two ways about it. But it is very unlike the devil. The devil always wants people to accept the fact that he is there, he is alive. So when I say the devil does not exist, I then started walking back home. But I believe you me, Brother Nashi, when I was walking back home, I felt that there was someone who was following me. So I started to run away because I thought that maybe it was that guy who had impregnated me. When I returned back home, I fell asleep. I think I spent about 7 days or so without any spiritual encounter. That was when I had a spiritual encounter. One day I was returning from the river. That was when I met this other woman. She said, tonight I am going to visit you. You should do whatever that I am going to tell you when I would have visited you. So I thought that it was very weird, because she was just like an old woman who seemed familiar, yet at the same time I had never seen her in this village. I went back home with my bucket full of water, which I was carrying on top of my head. I prepared supper for everyone. After we had eaten, I had already forgotten about that old woman. Then I went to the girls' sleeping quarters. So one of my uncle's daughter, she was already into this thing of dating guys, so she would sneak out and leave me alone. Then when she had snuck out of our sleeping quarters, that was when I heard a loud banging knock on the door and I fell unconscious. The next time when I woke up, Brother Nashi, I found myself leaving my uncle's compound, and it was like there was a force that was pushing me, and I kept on walking and walking, even though I was really scared of the things that I was doing. When I was about to enter into that family's compound, those ones that had their entire generation cut off by God, I swear to you that I saw them, Brother Nashi, 19 of those family members that all died. I saw them, each one of them, they were sitting on their graves. They looked at me as I entered into the compound. Then the front door, it opened up for me and I entered. I was scared, Brother Nashi. I had no courage to do this whole thing, but like I said, it seemed as if there was a powerful force that was pushing me forward, this force that wanted me to enter this abandoned house. I entered into that abandoned house. Then, Brother Nashi, that was when I saw the devil. Yes, I have seen the devil, but I didn't see the devil that had horns and wings. She was just an old lady. She was standing there with her walking staff. She then pointed a walking staff at me and she said, "Kneel down before me so that I can bless you." I knelt down before the devil and the devil blessed me. And the devil told me that it required that which was growing in my womb, and I gladly accepted. I was told that I had to immediately leave the village. On that same night, I started walking until I had reached the place where there was a train station, and I waited for the train. I got into the train when I didn't have any money at all, but there was a stranger who just handed me a ticket. This woman, she felt that she had to pay that train ticket for me. The train then arrived in Harare and I was more than happy. I started living in the streets and I was still pregnant at that time. That was when the devil returned back to me, and it reminded me that I was supposed to pay. I had to pay with that was growing in my womb. So what I did is that I sought out some herbalist who made some herbal concoction for me, and I drank that herbal mix. That was when I had a miscarriage, Brother Nashi. I had a miscarriage, and then the blood, as it was coming out, I felt that there were some creatures that kept on coming to me as they were collecting the blood. This is not the only child that I have lost. Throughout my years as a ritualist, I even reached a point whereby I dumped a baby, Brother Nashi. This was like a full-grown baby. So after I had fallen pregnant, the devil returned back to me to remind me of what I owe her. And at that time, I was pregnant. I was told that I was going to wait for the devil to return back to me. And at that moment, that was when I was going to have an abortion and throw away this fetus. But it looked more like a baby at that time when I performed this evil ritual. What I did, Brother Nashi, is that after 7 months, that was when the devil came. The devil came and told me that I was going to have an abortion, and the devil left some charms. All that I was supposed to do was to mix these charms with some water. Then I had to drink. And I was told that I was supposed to sleep outside throughout the night. I had to sleep outside, and I had to do it in the CBD. Brother Nashi, when it was somewhere around past 4. That was when I got onto a taxi and I went to town. I started walking around, waiting for the evening to arrive. When it was somewhere around 9 to 10 p.m., that was when I started to walk out of the CBD, headed for the affluent suburbs of Harare. And I then went to this other area. You know, there are those big sewer pipes. So there are some places whereby these sewer pipes, they connect. When I reached that area, that was when I had a voice that told me that you should do it here. So I slept at the back So I then went at the back of this big sewer pipe, and I slept with my back on the ground, and I opened my legs, and I felt as if there was someone who was helping me to deliver this baby that was still growing in my womb. This baby, when it came out, it actually cried. I had this baby crying, and I was told that I had to dump this baby into the sewer pipe. So I walked, even though I was in pain because of this, even though I was in pain because of the child, even though I was in pain, but I crawled until I had reached a place where those pipes, they connected with each other. Then there was a big lid that one could open. So I opened it, brother, and I just looked to the side, and I threw that baby into that sewer pipe, and I started to cry. The baby only cried about two times when I had thrown the baby into the sewer pipe, and I regained my strength. I felt that there was a big bird that came. It had such large wings. This bird that I could not see came and lifted me and returned me to the place where I was staying. If this was all that I did, I could say that this is the price that I had to pay for me being wealthy. But Brother Nashi, I also had to crucify my own mother. The devil returned back to me, and the devil said, "Why are you letting your mother to suffer?" I said, "I do not understand." The devil said that since your mother is suffering like this means that you do not care for her, because I can actually take her soul. If you let me take her soul, then she is going to rest. This woman that gave birth to you, she is suffering, she has suffered. Please release her soul. Give me her soul. So I then gave the devil the authority to harvest my mom's soul, because she was just a crippled anyway. She could not do anything. For her to go to the toilet, she needed assistance. And with the money that was now flowing in, I wanted to enjoy myself. I wanted to be with each and every handsome man that I would come across. After my mom had passed away, the pain was just too much. That was when I decided to skip the country, and I came to this foreign land where I am currently staying. Yes, I do allow men to have their way with me, but if only they knew, if only they knew that the devil follows me around, they will stay away from me. But every man that I set my eyes on, if I tell myself that this man is a 10 on for me, I will find myself in bed with that man. He takes my bad luck, and I actually take his soul. I bring him more closer to the devil. It is much more easier to do this with a man that is married. Oh, talk about the pastors. I enjoy spending times with this unfaithful so-called men of God, for I know that at the end of the day, when they sleep with me, when they are with me, their glory is forever taken. This is the covenant that I did with the devil. Dear listeners, right there was a message that was sent to me by our dear sister. Strange things do happen in this world. Sacrificing your own mother. How about that thing of throwing the baby into the sewer pipe? Just imagine.